Welcome to this podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and we are back. We are here. We have a very important episode, but first, today's open. I want to do this more often here, where we go on a little monologue, start the episode, talk about something we don't normally get to. It's not going to be very long today, but I just want to let everyone know that today, as I was driving home after my long day on campus, I saw a man pissing in the garage. And it was the second floor of the garage. I thought he was maybe emptying out an old water bottle, something like that, in the car, where you got to do that at like a parking lot or something. Looked over, nope, he just his pants. There was a full-on pee thing going on there. So today's lesson, don't pee in parking garages. Please, it's just indecent. Okay, but today, super excited to have on the Bachelor Recap pod. Great way to get back and get started. We have resident Bachelor expert, Emily Woolheiser. Emily, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to report on The Bachelor. I will say I've only been a consistent watcher for a year, so I don't want to be penalized for having incorrect thoughts, but as an avid social media user, I do know a lot about past contestants.
And we also have love expert Katie Giustiniani here to discuss.
Hello. This is my first time watching The Bachelor. Like Madison, I am a virgin for this. I'm excited to dive deeper.
I am also a first-time watcher. I think, Emily, you kind of pushed that on us, and I think we watched it as a comedy type of thing, and I just want everyone to remember that as we discuss this later. It's really interesting. It replaced Monday Night Football for me, and I think it's a lot of fun. So why don't we start with that? Why don't we start with Madison's virginity, because that took hold during Fantasy Suites, or shall we say, the not-so-fantasy suites for Mr. Peter this week.
You're right. There's a lot to say about it. And I honestly think people are making it a much larger deal because last season, and which you guys didn't watch, there was the villain of the season, Luke P. And people keep comparing Madison and Luke P. and their delivery of the whole, I don't want you to have sex with other people. However, I think the way in which they approached it is completely different. And I'm personally a Madison stan. I love her. And I think the way in which she approached it was a lot more respectful. And she's not going about it saying that Peter's a terrible person if he has sex. She's just saying that for herself, she doesn't want to do that. Whereas in the past, when it's been brought up, when there's a virgin on the show, a lot of the times they kind of like chastise the other person for having had sex and make them feel bad. So that's my little opinion on it.
Yeah, I think there's like a line there,
yeah.
Right? Like you're kind of saying there's a line there. Katie, what do you think?
I agree. I think I can understand the view of Victoria and Hannah Ann, because obviously they're going to be critical about the one girl that they're competing against. But as Twitter showed, they also wear cross necklaces, so they at least claim to have some sort of connection to religion. So I feel like they should have been a little bit more sympathetic with this, just because it isn't their cup of tea. It doesn't mean that she should be chastised for this. And frankly, she made it very obvious what the reasons were, aside from blatantly saying that she's saving herself for marriage. So I don't think it was right for Peter to be so surprised when she was like, I don't know if I can do this if you end up being intimate with other women. And then he was mad because she didn't know if she could do it because he was intimate with other women.
Yeah, you kind of just like, because they talked about it at the beginning of the episode. The beginning of the episode opens from like directly after last week's rose ceremony. And they cut to Madison and Peter having that conversation about her virginity and such. And then Peter basically obviously goes on his first date with Hannah Ann and ignores exactly what Madison had told him.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't have confirmation if he slept with both, but we're pretty sure he has.
Hannah Ann, pretty sure.
I'm sure Victoria F, because that's the only reason he's kept her around.
That's true.
Right.
But I think a huge point in it is like, in real life, I mean, The Bachelor is not like real life at all, but in a real life standpoint, would you want to be engaged to someone who slept with someone else 6 days prior when keeping your virginity is such a big thing? And it's just usually in Bachelor history, the lead knows who they're going to pick. And I mean, the other people are kind of there for a formality, except for Colton last season. He literally sent 2 of the other girls home on fantasy suites and picked the girl Cassie because he loved her that much.
Wow.
So it's not out of the question for him to be like, yeah, you're right, Madison, I love you, which she was the first one that he said I love you to, and she hasn't even said it back, and just kind of ride the wave with her and respect her decisions. But I think he's just so horny that he just had to get it on with the other two, and then he's probably going to want to choose Madison.
No, for sure.
So.
Yeah. I think so too. And it's just like, with the whole thing with Victoria, it's all season, for some reason, they wanted to keep her around.
Yeah.
And it'd be, I think, really disappointing if Peter, for himself, if he did not have sex with her on Fantasy Suite.
Because it's the only reason she is here.
Not that this
not her personality.
Not that this season's crop is very good with the women anyway, but like the fact that Victoria's still here after everything that's happened is, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
If a person's hot, shows you can go really far, right?
I guess so.
But
I guess that's it.
And obviously, like, for Madison, too, like, she's been most stable. She's been an early favorite for, I think, most of the season. And so, of course, for me, I feel like, if we want to get into a little bit of thing for the winner here, I think she still wins. Because if anything, what The Bachelor has taught me, as I've watched this one season that I've picked up on, is the people who start to make drama always stay on. They always stay on that week. Like, for instance, the people like Kelly, or the people like Natasha, or someone like Lexi earlier on in the season. It's very stable. They don't stay. But the people like Tammy and the people like McKenna, they stay 1 week too long.
Because they're great for the views.
Of course.
Yeah, I think we should talk about the season in general up until this point, because...
Wait, I have a question here.
Oh, go ahead.
Based on sorry.
No, go ahead.
Based on what I've talked about with other people who have watched multiple Bachelor seasons, is this the worst Bachelor season in a long time? Between Peter and between the women?
I think so. And I don't even think it's necessarily the woman, because there are some great girls. It's just, what I have a problem that he does is that he almost plays too much into that he is in the show The Bachelor and the rules that are within there, that it's so unrealistic in a present day setting. Like when he will basically, like with Sydney earlier in the season, when they were in a group of girls and he just called her out and was like, Sydney, what did you say about this person? And she had to be like, oh, well, I don't think Alea is here for the right reasons. And so that's kind of how they dealt with it. Like in the real world, you don't often get like the opportunity to necessarily call someone out in front of everyone else. And even with the whole Alea and Victoria P.
Yes, yeah,
like,
how they
that
do each
situation.
other.
He's like, oh, let's go sit down, both of you, and talk. Like he's almost playing into how he has that opportunity too much that it's just not fair in a way, if that makes sense. It's just, it creates something different. And in past seasons, when the Bachelor or Bachelorette has been told something about another contestant, they're like, okay, I'll keep that to myself and think about it when going on dates with so-and-so in question. But they don't immediately like start like a goose hunt for whatever happened with the person and interview people. Like he's being a detective, and that's not really
it's very problematic.
It's not necessarily how like love works.
No,
so
it's not.
That's my issue with it.
And with that, do you guys think Peter is ready for marriage at all? Like on an emotional level?
Okay, because you guys didn't watch when he was in The Bachelorette.
Correct.
No. And he was the most stable.
The 4-time windmill.
Yeah, 4 times in the windmill. He was the most stable contestant. He had no drama with the guys. It was who Hannah B would go to whenever like she just wanted to be there for love. And he was just great. And that's why he became Bachelor. But I just don't know what happened. Like he completely changed. So it's definitely, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think his conflict resolution is just very poor.
It's terrible.
You touched on it, but the bringing the 2-on-1 that he loves to do. I mean, my favorite thing from this season, I think, sums it up is the Tammy and McKenna drama. This is truly fantastic because I didn't like Tammy. I thought she was a little brutal, but I despise McKenna. I celebrated. I believe that was the week the episode was on. There's a double episode on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
So Thursday I was elated when she got eliminated, but let's just paint a scene, right? So Tammy's attacking McKenna for whatever reason. No one knows. She's this little 22-year-old girl that is clearly not ready for marriage.
I mean, Tammy was aggressive in her execution towards it, but she was warranted by McKenna's actions because McKenna was there for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Not all Team McKenna here. Let's not don't aggregate that.
Just stating the obvious.
No, but I'm just saying that like it was just very odd a choice of attacking. You're attacking this little 22-year-old girl.
Both girls were terrible.
Well, yeah, that weighs 85 pounds and can move her tongue on 360 degrees around the mouth on live television, on recorded television. But the point is that he sits them down for a 2-on-1, talks about it, obviously gets rid of Tammy first because she was just, at that point, that was her second attack of the week. Just kind of had to. And then McKenna's so happy and everything, and then literally, I think, 20 minutes of episode time later, he sends McKenna home for the rose ceremony. And first of all, I love it, not only because she went home, but because that frown that she goes with, the frown of the century. I mean, fantastic. But, like, that kind of thing, it's like, and McKenna kind of said it, and the one thing that I actually agree with her saying is that he told me on whatever, like literally the night before, the evening of, whatever, how they edited it, I don't know, that he wanted me here, and then the next day he's like, yeah, screw it, don't want you here.
Yeah.
And like that just kind of goes to show the whole season. Like I think another example that I was thinking of when you guys were talking was Sydney. Sydney, like, not that I, once again, don't love Sydney either, again, but the week before she went home, I remember they did an awesome 2-on-1, one-on-one, that she was the best kisser, all this thing, like they really had connection, like they didn't talk for a week and then she went home. And it's like, like what is that, like, what does he actually want? He wants sex, but like what else?
That's also a problem with him, because you're not really supposed to tell multiple girls I love you, or tell like single out a girl saying you're the best kisser. Like that's something they'll take and run with, and it indicates, I mean, if someone told you that, you'd think they would pick you and that they have feelings for you. So he's kind of terrible, and he's done it with all the girls now, telling them that he loves basically all of them, which gives them such a false hope.
Yeah, Hannah Ann in this last episode, right? On the one-on-one. Yeah.
And I don't know if he told Victoria F or not, but he at least said in like the confessionals, like he's starting to love her. I think he did.
No way.
But he's
just...
He loves to throw around words, and I don't know if he means them.
They're going to bite him in the butt at the end of this, because even just, it's so idiotic. Looking back at the hometowns with Hannah Ann, the dad was very persistent on, you have 3 other girls here, let's be realistic, don't tell my daughter you're falling in love with her.
Which is completely fair.
Right.
For any dad, completely fair.
And then a week later, he told her exactly that. And
he told her the night. Like,
didn't he tell her the night
it was this episode. It was this past episode.
It was this episode?
I think he was
Or he said he
close
was
to it.
falling in love with her.
Right.
But still.
To add on to that, he literally said exactly what your dad said. Like, your dad told me not to do this, but... And then
So that, I really, just based off of even that, if we single that part out alone, he's not mature enough to even be in just a relationship, let alone a marriage.
Yeah.
Because if we look at this episode of the Fantasy Suites, in 6 days, he's going to be proposing to one of them, and I just don't see it working out well. I don't at all.
No, yeah, I mean, not to go along with the other fact that bachelors are, one of them has stayed married to their current winner of their season. That's something I read earlier in the season. Someone can fact check me if you want it, but I also saw that 2 of them are married to their runner-up still.
Yeah.
So Hannah Ann.
Well, and Colton from last season, when he ditched the other 2 girls at Fantasy Suites and went off with Cassie, they didn't get engaged, and they're still together today, so they didn't rush into it. And that's also a thing with it, that they're so pressured by the engagement. But they don't have to get engaged. Obviously, it's for the show, but I mean...
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so on the last Fantasy Suite episode from last year, Colton went around to 2 of the girls' like rooms, because they did stay in separate Fantasy Suites last year, and he was like, basically, I'm in love with Cassie and I'm gonna pursue that, so sorry, but like we're done.
Yeah.
And they're still dating, they're not engaged, because like her whole thing is like at the end she didn't want to get engaged, so
which, I mean, truthfully makes sense.
Probably a wise decision.
Yeah, with how this has been going, for sure.
But yeah, so I think, should we talk about Victoria F a little bit?
Oh goodness, yes, please begin.
She's like a case study of...
She is.
Lord knows what. Yeah, so, I mean, I think we said that she's basically just there around for Fantasy Suites and for Peter to have sex with her, because her personality, their dynamics, the drama associated with her, I mean, like, she started out in the beginning of the season as the shy girl. Like, do you guys remember the Revolve episode where she was like, I'm so out of my element. I'm too shy to walk down a runway.
Yeah. And then she got, second place?
Yeah, she got second place. And then she cried because she's like, I put my all in and then I didn't win. It's like, well, you went against Hannah Ann, who is the model, and you claim to be the shy girl. So I think, and she also went out in lingerie. So right off the bat, she hasn't been the shy girl she claims she is. I mean, the whole thing with Chase Rice, that was a huge thing.
Yeah, that's still crazy to me.
It's insane. And apparently according to Chase Rice, they weren't really even together. He was like, I don't care what she does, just don't.
I know, they really played that up though.
They really did.
Like the producers really went hard for that episode.
But they knew that Victoria would fall for it because she's not mature either. So you knew that she would crumble and then make a big deal out of it, getting them more views, but it's like a little experiment that's going on. It's kind of seeing like how far a couple idiots and a couple decent people are in this one situation.
And the thing is, Victoria F could have the potential to be like a more mature castmate. Because, I mean, McKenna, even Hannah Ann, they're 22, 23, they're younger. But Victoria F, I think she's 26 or 27, so...
Yeah, she's older, but still not really like...
Yeah, it just goes to show maybe age just doesn't... It's not a good indicator.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I think she's been a very interesting and terrible, terrible character. But I think we discussed this last week about Peter having a hero complex.
Yes.
Right.
In a way. And I think it definitely shows with who he's kept around and who he's kind of kicked off the show.
I mean, Victoria literally just brutally disrespected him in the hometown episode, completely flipping the conversation on him, making it all abusive and stuff like that. And yet he's like, well, look, I still want to keep you around for fantasy suite, Kelsey. I'm sorry I didn't meet I met your family, and Victoria's family I didn't meet is considered.
Yeah, but somehow she gets another chance.
I mean, yeah, like I really don't have a favorite in the season. Not batting for Kelsey either, because I thought she should have been off the show a while ago.
But she's developed.
She really did.
I think she just got less screen time.
I don't know.
I would like to see the stat department of the assists that we don't have. I'd really like to see the amount of time, because I feel like it went down because she was crying, she was emotional. That champagne, goodness gracious, come on.
But I feel like she got less screen time in that sense because she was growing and didn't have those dramatic moments. So I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on that one.
Or they were setting us up to be pissed about this exact Victoria thing, and they wanted us Kelsey, cry in the corner, shut up. Camera's not on you. Stop it.
No, because they showed a lot of her crying. They showed the whole Tammy calling her a pill popper and alcoholic.
That's so funny, honestly.
And then Kelsey, this is another problem with Peter. Kelsey goes to him during the day when they're not on a date.
Yes.
Before
illegal violation.
Yeah, very illegal. And she's like, I think she said, like, I'm falling in love with you. She said something along those, So showing her commitment. And instead of him being like, oh, you're right, Kelsey, like, I'm gonna keep that to myself, but, like, you're probably gonna get a rose tonight. He gives her a rose, which essentially gives her, like, puts a target on her back where all the girls are pissed at her because then the cocktail party is canceled. So he creates the drama in the house based on how he, like, preferentially treats people, when obviously he sent her home because he liked Victoria F for some odd reason.
He thinks Victoria's hot. It's very clear.
It's lust. It's not love.
It is. And Twitter has been kind of destroying her recently. Just kind of pointing out all the abusive tactics that she's been using.
Well, she even had that one campaign I know that you saw that she was she won the contest to be on the cover of what magazine?
Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, I think it was Cosmopolitan.
And that they didn't end up using
her outside world drama too. It's not just on the show.
Right.
Yeah,
it was so problematic. Everyone was pointing out that she was just toxic and manipulative and mostly gaslighting Peter and trying to make him feel bad for trying to be a little bit more mature, which is a big step for Peter because he has a lot to work on.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's really no upside to Victoria anywhere. I think she's cute, but she's not that cute, you know?
I mean,
I don't think so.
Her personality is really ugly.
It is.
So that should be all.
He's using the there's a scale. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's a joke among like high school guys. It's
crazy to hot.
The hot and crazy scale.
Yeah. Barney Simpson.
He is firmly in the danger zone I think Peter's looking at Victoria like that. I don't know if you guys, if you haven't seen it, look it up.
It's
Don't
a
treat
How I
your
Met Your
girlfriends.
Mother, Barney Simpson.
Yes.
I have seen that, and I definitely agree.
The fact that crazy starts at scale 4, he can't be less than the number 4 out of 10.
True.
No, yeah, I agree. It's just it doesn't make any sense. And like I don't know, like I'd rather. I mean, if you go back once again, I think Kelsey's better than Victoria, but I don't disagree with Kelsey being sent home in the top 4. Frankly, I don't think she belonged there.
She wasn't gonna win.
She was.
Correct. But Natasha or Kelly would have taken both of them. Stable, mature people. Kelly's a lawyer. On The Bachelor. When does that ever happen?
Exactly. I mean, what really irritated me, and I expressed this a lot because in past seasons more recently, every girl who goes on The Bachelor, they create like an influencer career out of this. And I mean, some of their sort of BS professions like the clothier.
That was Kelsey.
McKenna, the fashion blogger. Like, what do you think they're going to do after The Bachelor?
Does McKenna have a degree? We'll look it up.
Does who? Oh, McKenna?
She was 22, so she'd be fresh out.
Yeah. She's a fashion blogger, so she has totally taken this by storm and has been getting her Instagram sponsorships. I know she had a sponsorship with extensions. Now she has much longer hair. Oh. So she's the type of girl who goes on the show and wants to make a career out of this, not for love. Kelly has a career. She doesn't need to go on to make a name for herself because she doesn't need it because she already has one and she has like merit behind her name. So when he had her one-on-one and he was like, are you ready to get married? And she turned it back on him. It was like, are you ready to get married? Because you reward the drama. You basically like these little girls who have just, I don't know, they don't have an actual career. They don't know what they want. He rewards that. So it's definitely like, why was he so concerned about her when she literally she was only in it for love, not for a career choice.
Right. Just going back to what you said about Peter's hero complex, like he couldn't save her. I feel like she was kept on after that episode solely because he was intimidated and almost challenged by it. Not to say that like Peter's this toxic masculine guy or anything, but I don't think he was used to having somebody of that mature level to actually kind of give him that reality check to make sure, like, listen, I know that you're here and you have 20 girls competing for you, but I'm one of the girls. I'm in this for love, and I'm not going to treat this like it's a game show. Yeah,
no, that's completely true. I don't know. I think, like, with Kelly, it's just he's used to now being the Bachelor, so every girl's kind of like groveling at his feet for him, for his, like, approval, but, like, Kelly didn't need it. She was equally there to see if she liked him as much as for him to like her. Yeah. Which not all the contestants are. True. I can't find anything about McKenna's college. She's interesting. She's from Canada, though. I don't know if they have college in Canada. I see. How that works up in the... Uni. They have uni. Uni? Right? Are you serious? University. I feel like everyone calls it uni. I don't know. There's probably like Toronto University. That's it. Anyway, so we kind of touched on Peter's overall issues during the season. How is Peter in this episode, though? Do you guys think? Was this one of his better episodes? Was this one of his worst ones? I don't know. I definitely don't think he's at his worst. I think he's at worst episodes. However, I mean, he can only go up at this point. I hope. Don't be too soon. I feel like this is like, I'd give him like a solid 4 because the way they cut this, having it after, if it was framed a different way, it would have been different for this specific episode. But the way that they cut it, in that it showed the last rose ceremony, then leading into the week in Australia, and how Madison told him like, hey, like, and once again with the context that they were the first relationship to take off. They're the first kind of like... Yeah, she met his family on the first date. Exactly. True. And that, and just the fact that they've kind of like... she's always been the rock of the season in a way that it feels like she's been going to win. And that he's just kind of like, okay, yeah, like I get all your stuff, like save yourself for marriage, blah, blah, and then he just goes and definitely has sex with Hannah Ann based on the pictures and such. And then we think with Victoria too, and just said, oh, sorry, I just kind of ignored exactly what you said. Like, that's a low rating. So like a 3 out of 10 for me. That's rough. Well, one thing that is important with what Maddie said to him is when they were at the hangar right after that rose ceremony, she didn't completely give the whole reason why as to why it was such a big deal that he doesn't have sex with the other 2 contestants, because I don't believe she said she was a virgin then. She waited until her date. But we also
Right.
don't know the order in which they were filmed, because The Bachelor does that, where they'll present to you a different order than what actually happened. But I still think Madison was the last date.
Right.
I
agree.
But I don't know. He gets this information. I don't think he actually processes it. I think it's like surface level, and he does still what he wants, and then he gets in these situations.
I think what happened this episode, it's definitely not the sole reason why Peter is how he is, but in this episode, Peter had the opportunity to finally have sex with these girls. And in the beginning of the show, he was like, sex is very important to me. And just solely based off of what we have seen on the show, he hasn't been able to get intimate with anyone. Not excusing him, but I feel like that kind of just went to his head with this. When I really do feel like Madison is the front runner. Like, she is the best option for him in every way, except that she is a virgin. And she presented it in such a respectful way too, about like, listen, this is a big deal for me, even without knowing that it was like for religious purposes. He should have taken that with more weight than, I just don't want you sleeping with other girls, because he's going to just want to sleep with other girls, which he did. But I really don't think he was a good person in this. I had no sympathy for him at the end of it when he was getting all broken up because Madison ended up getting upset when she said she'd get upset.
He
walked away.
Yeah, I really have no sympathy for him here. He did exactly what she asked him not to do, and it's the consequence that he's going to have to face. And now he's going to talk to his mom, and she's going to be crying and telling him to bring her home. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so do we want to say, like... Oh, go ahead.
Who do you guys think... I'm saving that. Who do you guys think won this episode overall, though? Was it Madison with her boss-level move of walking out on Peter? Don't know if she walked off the show, right?
Yeah, we don't know.
She walked out, though, at the end. There's no rose ceremony today, for that episode. So no one actually won. I don't know. Is it Hannah Ann for being stable? Is it Victoria for
absolutely not?
always talking about her whole date, talking about how they don't communicate enough because she's just been at Peter's throat? Or is it Peter himself for finally relieving his horniness?
I mean, I think there's a clear answer in my mind.
Okay. Who go ahead, share.
You go first.
I mean, I would think Madison, because she's the only one who's really consistently been true to herself and like keeps her values as a priority, which even if you don't disagree with them, you sort of have to respect the fact that she's not going to waver just so she can win Peter, because she's not really in it to win the guy. She's in it to find love for herself at the same time. Hannah Ann, though, I think she has been a very stable figure. My only critique with her is that when Madison and Hannah were having that hard conversation where Madison told Hannah, I'm saving myself for marriage and I hope he does the same if he's going to pick me. And that was obviously after Hannah Ann and him had spent the night together, so we can assume what was done. Yeah. Hannah Ann didn't really say anything, but then in the cutaways, like the interview after, she was like going off about it and saying all this stuff. I just wish she kind of had said that to Madison, like, hey, like, have you watched the show before? Like, you can't be mad at us for that.
True.
So, overall, I think Madison. That would be my choice.
I agree with that in, like, the real world, of just a little bit outside of Bachelor. Like, yes, she stayed true to her heart. She did exactly what she said she was going to do. But just in this episode, I'd say Hannah Ann won, because it was very rare to not see her with a smile on her face. She's just... I don't think she's emotionally prepared for marriage personally, so she really just looks like she's having a lot of fun. She hasn't... I can't think of a single argument she's had with Peter, really.
They've just been pure, like, puppy love.
They have been.
It's been cute.
So, and I think that she, being the person in the foggy window, I think that's cool for her. So
good for
her. May have
her.
boosted her.
We've been waiting for that.
But yeah, I think she had a great time, and I feel like she did a good job.
She's there for love.
For herself, yeah, she did good. But she's not going to win. I really don't see that happening. I feel like he's either going to go with chaos with Victoria and have a terrible life where they stay together, or with Madison, where she's going to realize, well, I just waited for this guy who completely disregarded my feelings and thinks only with his penis, and
Not his
That's
actual
my hot
head.
take. Right, other head.
Other head.
The winner for me is and always has been Peter's mom.
Oh
my God.
That wasn't an option.
They've shown her for weeks. We're finally here. The tell-all's next week, and I'm excited for the tell-all. We'll talk about that in a second. But we finally are now at the precipice of seeing the full conversation of Peter's mom. Bring her home. Bring her home to us. Who is her? We can guess. I think it's Madison. That's what it's been leading up to. Hannah Ann's been too stable recently for it.
She also knows Madison.
Correct. I am thrilled. I cannot wait. Peter's Cuban mom, and they've tried to get him to speak Spanish, and you can tell he speaks Spanish just about as well as I can. My 100% Caucasian self. I'm really excited to finally get Peter's mom and the full thing of Madison walking away from the engagement and stuff later on in the
I agree.
in the finale in 2 weeks. So that was my choice. Okay, speaking of tell-all, it's next week.
Yes,
it's on Monday. You have some interesting deets on this, Emily. Insider knowledge over there. Here from Miss Woolheiser. Would you like to share?
Yes, I would. My what was I going to say? Okay, so according to the Bachelor Nation people, so the tell-all was filmed last Friday, so it already happened. I do follow a couple of the girls from the season on Instagram, so they're obviously all posting together. However, it's been reported that Kelly was not invited to the tell-all, which is something I was kind of... First of all, I didn't know that, like, you were invited. I just thought if you were on the show, you went, unless you were still, like, a contestant. Because, I mean, Madison and Hannah Ann, they're not going to be at the tell-all because they're still on the show.
But why is Victoria then?
Well, okay, that's also a supposable
Kelly first.
thing. So Kelly first, yeah, she wasn't invited. So I don't really know what this could mean because last year I believe Hannah B was at the tell-all and she ended up being the Bachelorette. So it's not like a direct correlation between, oh, you're not at the tell-all, you're the Bachelorette. 'Cause, I mean, I don't think that's true. I think, and this has been the thing the whole season, that Kelly's not going to contribute or stoop down to drama. That's just dumb. And the tell-all is all about them over-analyzing stupid fights that people have had. So obviously McKenna and Tammy are going to be there to talk about God knows what about their dumb arguments.
Right.
So, I don't know. What do you guys think about Kelly not being invited? It's annoying.
I don't know. Maybe she has, like, real life, like, she's trying a case right now or something like
that.
No,
she was in LA, actually. That was an important thing. Mm-hmm. She went to LA to hang out with all of them because it was her birthday weekend. So she was there, but she wasn't invited.
I don't know, like, because she's top 6. She's obviously one of the more prominent people from the season. I don't really understand how the tell-all goes like that, but, like, it is weird because it's not like the villain of the season was probably Tammy, right?
Yeah.
Because she had
Alea.
True.
It was like Alea and then
villains,
Tammy. And then I know Kelly kind of, like, became a little ruder in that one episode. Then she got...
I don't think so at all.
I mean, you could portray it as that, though. I don't think it was, but, like, she was confident in herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was a surprising turn for her, and then she was sent home that very day. Like, she's not, like, been the big problem this season, so I don't know. Maybe there's something behind the scenes with that?
I think there definitely has to be, because they can't just leave her out if they don't have a reason. Because, I mean, Kelly should be like, hello, like, people loved me. Why wouldn't you want me on this? So maybe that means she's a Bachelorette. Maybe, I don't know, but it's just kind of weird.
That is really strange.
I don't think Kelly's a Bachelorette, though.
I don't know. We can make our predictions a little later if you want.
We're going to do it.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but it's just like, why wasn't she there? It's the weirdest thing to me. But another person who was supposedly there was Victoria F., who, as we know, is still in the running for getting one of Peter's roses next week. So I'm pretty sure they'll show the rose ceremony that we were left off on before the tell-all next week. So I guess, I mean, we'll know if Victoria...
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll know, like, who goes home, and I guess if Victoria F. is there, which I think she does, she was at the tell-all, because obviously she doesn't make it to the final 2. She can't make it to the final 2.
Yeah, she can't.
But...
Peter got what he wanted.
Peter got what he wanted, and he's just going to dispose of her, which is bad, but it's warranted for her, because I cannot stand her.
No, they're not gonna leave us.
And speaking of Victoria F., she was apparently spotted with Robbie Hayes, who's a past Bachelor contestant who has had very questionable decisions in the past. Apparently, he dated 21-year-olds to help start his influencer career. He's just kind of a sketchy, tool bag guy. So someone saw them at a bar together, which obviously means Victoria F's not with Peter, hopefully. I mean, we wouldn't put it past her.
That's true.
But
there's been allegations.
So, I mean, Victoria F's already just out in the Bachelor world dating pool. And, yeah, was there any other ones I had? Any other news I had?
I think it was those two mainly.
Those were the big ones, because I just found it shocking.
I didn't know about all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy talk.
What do we expect from the tell-all? Do we think Tammy goes after someone new for no reason? So wait, since it was just filmed this past Friday, they've all been watching as they go along, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if just like Kelsey, I really want Kelsey to look at Victoria and be like, he didn't even
I know.
your family.
Like, you have to
Or
feel
just those
so
kind of
bad
things,
for her.
like the way
she
they
got
cut
sent
things.
home and Victoria F didn't.
Like Tammy be like, LOL, I just got an extra day on my vacation. Star in front of you, McKenna. That kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can expect Tammy to probably come at people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else you guys think.
I feel like initially they'll try and be all buddy-buddy because I'm sure a couple of them have gotten close. I mean, considering what you just said about all of them hanging out for Kelly's birthday 2 days ago, I feel like it's going to start off nice and they're going to talk about how they've grown together and they've become friends and what they've done after post-Bachelor, and then it's going to get into so Tammy, do you want to explain your distaste for everyone on the show? And then it'll get into that. Then it'll get a little bit messy, but I really desperately hope that they talk about what's going on in the season right now and how they feel about it.
Yeah. I wonder what Alea has to say.
Oh yeah, Alea. She was silenced so soon. I mean, Peter does go to the tell-all. Like, he'll be there. And girls have an opportunity to tell him stuff. Because last year, my favorite, and she's still my favorite, Caitlin, she was sent home after hometown, so she was basically the Kelsey equivalent of this year.
Okay.
And it was completely blindsided for her, and so she asked Colton there. So I'm sure we're going to get Kelsey and Peter one-on-one being like, so why the F did you send me home?
Can I bet on who cries first?
Sure.
I really want to bet on Kelsey.
I mean,
she just,
that's fair.
She's going to see Peter and just start bawling.
She's going to bawl. Victoria F's going to be like, I just can't. And like cause a whole dramatic scene.
Victoria P is going to be back.
Oh my gosh, I do not like her.
Remember the first episode I ever watched? I thought she was a great person. The
Me too.
next episode later, horrible.
So did we all.
Horrible.
These girls just
Sydney.
turn in a second.
They do.
Sydney.
There's
She was
so
my
much drama.
favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but there's some stuff that came out afterwards, too.
Yeah, that's when she stopped being my favorite.
I know.
It's just, in general, I don't see how these Bachelor contestants think they can make claims that other people were there for and knew about, and then they say something, like Sydney saying she was bullied, which she definitely could have been, but from what people said in her high school.
Sydney went into detail. She got called an Oreo.
Yeah, she had a whole story, which
I still don't really get the Oreo thing.
The Oreo thing, because she's African American but doesn't act strictly to the stereotype standards of an African American. Therefore saying she looks the part but doesn't act the part.
I thought it was all about her being mixed. And that's why it didn't
Well,
make
that
sense.
too.
Because you
That's
don't mix an Oreo. That's why I was kind of confused. Okay, so it's more... Okay, that makes more sense then.
It's still not a very kind thing to say, but I'm sure...
Of course, we're explaining racism right now on this podcast. It's probably rough.
No, I mean, like...
Maybe something we don't need to get into.
I mean, she definitely could have been called, like, a couple things by friends, but, I mean, how many jokes...
Well, she won pageant queen, right? Or not pageant queen. She
Yeah.
won high
She
school,
won-
like, queen of her high school or something like that. Like, that's what someone posted about. That's why I'm talking about this. Because it seems like kind of like... She framed it as if she was, like, the least popular kid in school kind of thing. And it's like, okay. Like, here are the receipts, honey.
She definitely could have had a bullying issue.
Of course.
Maybe because people were
absolutely.
intimidated by her. Who knows? But Hannah B from last season went to the same high school as Sydney, and she apparently had some not so nice things to say about her. And I think just in general,
How do all these girls go to the same high school and stuff like that? Like, how do they all know each other?
The Bachelor producers know how to pick. They
It
know how to
seems
pick
like
the
it.
girls that'll be successful in it. I think they get like a lot of referrals. No one actually knows, but I mean, Kelly didn't try out for the show. She was recruited onto it. multiple girls, I think, were like recruited onto it usually.
So that commercial they always have that they're looking for new people.
Like maybe BS, one of them.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know, but I think in general like Peter definitely rewarded the girls crying on this season, and that's why like Sydney felt the need to make a sob story. Like every girl always has a sob story, and it's like, I mean, with Kelly, she was like, I don't have something traumatic to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to go away, because it's like, if you have a story, great, tell it, but don't make it your reason why he needs to pick you and make it like a burden.
Don't make it your
on him.
one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like all of the girls think that they need a sob story in order for, like, they're like, I'm revealing my soul to you, like, we're gonna get closer because of this. It's like, you don't need to be sad in order to be a good person for Peter to have interest in. But, well, I mean, I guess in this case it was, because Peter's Peter, but...
That's
he
true.
wants them to cry,
He does.
and then he rewards them with a rose.
Okay, let's go through some, here at the end, some quick categories. First, this isn't related to Bachelor in sense of, like, Paradise and that kind of thing, but who's your favorite of the season? Who's your favorite girl? Who got shafted a little too early, in your opinion?
You can go, Katie.
Well, I think Kelly's the obvious choice, but I recently just watched the first 2 episodes, and there were several girls that seemed like they were really nice, genuine people, but they weren't chaotic and didn't really get the attention that they deserved because they weren't causing a scene. I forgot her name, but there was this one girl, she was a body waxer. And
Alexa, was
I think it might have been Alexa, but she was giving him this really useful advice. She was just talking about the other girls and like trying to get Peter to figure out his headspace, and she was kind of, as Zach said, shafted for that. As well as, what's her name, Lexi, the redheaded girl.
I was going to say her.
We just started to become closer with her, us and the viewers and Lexi, and as soon as we started to know a little bit more about her personality, she left.
She got beat by McKenna.
Yeah,
that's when I started hating
McKenna.
Yeah,
I know.
Lexi's my pick, so you already kind of touched on that.
You can also touch on it.
I mean, we all know Kelly, so I'm not even going to address that because I think we all understand that. But yeah, there were a ton of girls in the beginning that just didn't get any attention. Like this girl, I'm looking at a picture of her right now, Sarah Coffin. She seemed like she would be great. No attention. Also Natasha, I think she stayed around for a long time, and he kind of used her just to get information on the other people, or more as like an advice-seeking backbone because she was so stable. Yeah. But he never actually explored his relationship with her. So I feel like she was a great girl, but on their one-on-one, which was their first one-on-one when multiple people had been on 2 already, like, it was like they had just met each other. So it was super weird, and she definitely had potential. So, I mean, honestly, all the girls were they were given a lot of disadvantages.
No, I agree. Okay. If you had to pick, I don't know how it usually works. How many people usually end up from Bachelor on The Bachelor in Paradise, from the girls that don't win?
So Bachelor in Paradise is a little weird. They pick from multiple different seasons, so it could be people from like 3 seasons back, people who have already been on Bachelor in Paradise before, and they also introduce more people as it goes on and as people leave. So I don't even know what it was last time, but maybe girls that'll definitely be on it. I think McKenna has like made her audition for it perfectly clear that that's what she wants.
Yeah. Well, like I was gonna say, like your top 3 picks for Paradise.
Okay. I mean, so I said McKenna, which we don't want, but I mean,
if you want it, that's okay. I can respectfully disagree.
She's
100%.
very entertaining. She's terrible, but she'll be like an entertaining weirdo for it. I would pick Natasha. I think she'd be great, and I would also pick Lexi.
Lexi's a good one, for sure. Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
I really don't. Can you come back to me?
Yeah. Okay. This one's gonna drive conversation.
Okay.
Give me Tammy on Paradise.
Okay. Tammy and McKenna.
I think no, not McKenna. Get McKenna out. I don't need McKenna's tongue anywhere near Paradise.
Actually, you're
right. That's
I
not
take
Paradise.
it back. I'd rather have Tammy than McKenna.
Tammy, she may have gone a little crazy, but I think if she's nice and relaxing at the beach, she won't attack that many people. We can just find her for who she is. A person who, if you look into her background, fought her school district to be on the wrestling team, as a girl and went undefeated in that wrestling season.
She is a bad bitch.
But so did that girl in Diary of the Wimpy Kid.
That's not important. Diary of the Wimpy Kid. Dang, you just destroyed Tammy's career there. She's not on Paradise anymore. No, I think Lexi would be good just to see more of her for sure. And I think personally, Kelsey would be a disaster on Paradise, but the funny kind of disaster where it's just like...
Yeah, you also have to factor in on Paradise, they're out in the hot sun all day. So, like, there was one girl who literally went crazy last year because she was dehydrated. Aww. So, there's going to be some great entertainment.
Oh, then we should have Victoria P because she's a nurse.
Oh, my God.
She's such a caring,
I don't want to see
person. Yeah.
I think she's a liar. I also wanted to add Savannah. I don't know if you guys remember her, but she was really quiet but nice. We're looking at a picture of all of them.
We need to put these on YouTube so people can see.
Yeah, we're not just ignoring the podcast.
No, it's okay. We're here.
There's just... Oh, and I like the girl Jasmine, too.
Jasmine
wasn't
was
given
cute.
I missed the first
at
two
all
episodes.
any screen time. It's so weird looking at
What about the girl that was really good with football? That girl should be out.
Oh, Cheyenne.
Cheyenne knows her name. I knew to start with the C.
This is Savannah.
Oh, okay.
Cheyenne was good too. She annoyed me in the beginning though, and she's like, "I want more time." And it's like, then go get it. Like, don't socialize. Just go get time with Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a dreamer. Be a doer.
I mean, Sydney would be good too.
It seemed to be pretty good actually. Yeah, like a mid-tier person. She stayed on a decent amount of time. What are your picks?
Oh, Alea.
I personally think Alea would be fantastic for Bachelor in Paradise.
We should actually get the most controversial ones on her. So Alea, Tammy, and either Victoria or McKenna. Just watch the island explode like Lost.
I really just think that's a better place for them than The Bachelor. Not that The Bachelor is a very serious place, but I really feel like she's not... They weren't cut out for this. I really don't think they were.
But they're cut out for Bachelor in Paradise.
I think Paradise will be good for them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we kind of maybe touched on some people. Who could be the next Bachelorette? So you know a little more. Can you kind of go over usually what a typical Bachelorette looks like from The Bachelor? Like, how far do they have to make it? Kind of maybe a little bit of personality kind of thing.
Yeah.
Could you kind of touch on that, Emily?
So traditionally... like, people think you have to be in, like, the top 3 to be the next Bachelorette or Bachelor. I think Hannah B was... I feel like she was top 5, or she definitely wasn't top 3. But in terms of... You guys have probably heard people saying they're doing their Bachelorette audition, like when McKenna made the monologue of how she deserves love and she's more madly in love with herself now. She was trying. Like, that's a pathetic version of what it's supposed to look like, to really put yourself out there. But... in terms of who makes a good one, Hannah B was really good because she was really decisive, even though she ultimately picked a terrible guy. She was decisive and she didn't deal with the BS. So a girl who, I don't know, because it's like Kelly was so decisive, but they're not going to pick her because she's too decisive.
Right.
It just has to be someone who can handle themselves well. They definitely get like sort of not a makeover, but they get spruced up in a way. Their personality, their looks, like, so they're more molded into it. I don't really know, though, who would be great from this season. And they can pull from other seasons previously.
Okay, they might have to do that.
Yeah, I've heard some predictions for that.
Because I'm looking at the top 5 to 6 here, like you're saying. And if we assume Madison wins, or even if Hannah Ann were to win, I don't see either of them being a Bachelorette. I see them doing their own thing.
Neither.
Right.
Victoria would be third in that scenario, and goodness gracious.
And I think there would be a massive boycott.
If fourth is Kelsey, if Kelsey also leads the season, we're going to have some issues.
Yeah, I don't mind her. She wears her heart on her sleeve, which could be a good thing for the show.
True.
It could.
I think it has enough reality TV, heart on the sleeve kind of thing. 5 is Kelly, which we've already talked about.
Yeah.
And Natasha's too boring and too stable for it.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But Natasha could be good. You're right. She could be too stable. And the same, so Kelly would be too good at narrowing people down.
Yeah.
And I think Kelly's going to be asked, but she's going to say no.
I agree.
If I had to pick one of those, gun to my head, I'd pick Hannah Ann.
Really?
I could see her being a good Bachelorette.
I could see Kelsey, but I just personally don't like Kelsey.
I think I would pick Kelsey out of those 6. Just because I feel like Hannah Ann in 3 years could be a great Bachelorette.
Yeah, she needs to develop a little bit more, you think?
Yeah, I think she needs to live her life a little bit.
No, for sure.
She has a lot going for her at the moment. Mm-hmm. But, what were you going to say, Katie?
I don't know. I don't see, like you said, Kelly, I really don't see coming back. I feel like the people that I would want to be the Bachelorette have kind of learned from this experience and want to move on with their lives.
For sure.
Like, initially I was thinking Lexi. Like, she had a great personality. She was super sweet. But I feel like she didn't like this experience. She was mistreated and is going to move on. Same with...
Yeah.
I feel like I agree that Kelsey would probably be the best out of all of them, but I feel like she might start crying at everything. So I feel like she needs to harden up her emotions a little bit before she goes into that. But I'd agree with Kelsey.
Yeah. It's not going to be an easy choice.
No, yeah, for sure. They're going to have to really look through the crop. Okay, so who wins?
I personally think what's going to happen is that Madison is going to leave, and that's the whole drama that he's going to want to chase after her. Yeah, because
Agreed.
how could she feel that emotion, the mom, feel that emotion for someone she doesn't know?
Yeah.
That's her girl. That's who he needs to be bringing home. I think there's a part in the previews where he's apologizing to someone, and I think he's apologizing to Hannah Ann because he's letting her go and saying he needs to go follow Madison. So I think it's going to be Madison. But it is a non-traditional ending, which they've said before. So I'm thinking that could be it.
Yeah, you know how in the preview it has him holding the ring and then Chris comes up to him and is like, we all just found out about this. So I think he was going, like before that he felt like he was kind of going to be settling for Hannah Ann. I feel like she's going to be the last one. And then I don't know what might come up. It might come up, I don't know if it's going to be something about Madison or about Hannah Ann. But
So you still think Hannah Ann's in play here?
I do think Hannah Ann, because I think what's going to happen is next episode, it's going to be Victoria gets booted, as you said. We see her at the Women Tell All. But I see Madison still being hurt because he completely disregarded her feelings, and I feel like she's just going to leave. And then Peter's going to fool himself and be like, I'm good with this. Hannah Ann and I are meant to be. And then something's going to come up about one of them. And that's when he's going to leave, and that's when Mom's going to be like, bring her home. So we'll see. That's my hot take.
I still think Madison takes it. It is a little... It concerns me, though, because it feels a little too obvious right now.
Yeah, it's usually when they
Little bit.
point us in a direction, like, it's the opposite.
Hannah B wins.
I do see that as a possibility.
We had a great love. That's when Peter was...
Put those odds to like 10 to 1.
No.
There's no way. Madison's a minus 300 favorite at this point.
Oh my, no. I'm still Team
I think
Madison.
so. No, minus 300 is good.
Oh, okay. See, I don't understand.
We'll get working on your on your gambling
Okay.
knowledge, on your betting knowledge.
Perfect.
Any other thoughts before we exit?
I think that sums it up for me.
I would just personally like to thank you, Emily, for getting us into this beautiful world
Yes.
of The Bachelor.
That's true.
I feel like this is going to be a lifelong interest now.
It's when you look at it through the lens of it being entertainment and not as serious and quite comical, it's a great show.
It's true. True love can only be found on
And
Tinder.
I never thought I would be sitting with my roommates of Zachary and Sal and Katie watching The Bachelor because I just thought you guys would be haters. More specifically, Zach.
It's true.
Not you, Katie.
Look, I've realized true love cannot be found on Bumble.
But The
Here we are.
I'm glad.
Bachelor.
The Bachelor is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful conversation. New episodes coming now. The Assist. Download, subscribe, like.
Woo.
Smash that subscribe button.